Hey there, Seahawks fans. On today's video, we are taking a look at some potential cut and or trade candidates for the Seattle Seahawks with training camp almost here. Now, while they already cut players like DJ Fluker, there are some others who might not end up making the final roster. We'll start at tight end, Jacob Hollister, who did fare well last year for the Seattle Seahawks as, that tight end room kind of got decimated by injuries. But Seattle has options this year at tight end. As we'll do for every player we'll discuss, we'll also mention the potential savings. If the Seahawks can cut or trade Hollister, they will save about $3.26 million. That's a significant amount of money for a tight end who legitimately might be the third option if everyone's healthy at the position. Now again, Hollister fared well. I like him as a player. Seattle did too. That's why they made him that offer. But that tender offer also puts Hollister in trouble of making the team. Because Greg Olsen, well, he's going to make the roster. He's probably going to be tight end one. If Will Dissly's healthy, he's going to be involved in the offense. Then there's Hollister. They signed Luke Wilson, who we're not going to include, but is also a potential cut candidate. Then they drafted Colby Parkinson and Steven Sullivan. Now, Parkinson's battling injury, or at least is for the time being. But that's 5 options at tight end, legitimate options that could make the roster. 6 if you want to include the late-round pick Steven Sullivan, who might be a practice squad guy anyway. So cuts are going to have to be made at the tight end spot. So predict for me down there in the comment section. Who do you believe will end up getting cut at tight end? A bigger name next up here at linebacker. That is KJ Wright. Bear with me. Allow me to explain. I don't think you would cut KJ Wright because he's too good. He is still a quality starter at the linebacker spot that Seattle uses more off-ball linebackers based on last year's numbers than any team in the NFL. It's an important role for them. So he remains a good player, but there is potential savings to be had here. $6.5 million if he's cut or traded. Maybe you could ship him out for a draft pick or potentially even a corner in theory. So what would you guys want in a trade for KJ Wright? Is there a particular draft pick compensation level that you are searching for? Is there a position that you're searching for? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments. Now again, Wright remains a very, very good player. Now, 2018 he was banged up. That's why his numbers are lower. He broke up more passes this year. I think part of the nature of Seattle using more 4-3 base looks and put Wright in coverage a little bit more often. He is in the last year of his contract, but he's still a very good player. He remains an impact linebacker, but Seattle has since drafted Jordyn Brooks. They've drafted Cody Barton. At some point, they're going to want to give the reins over to those players. Maybe it's this year. If they impress in camp, maybe Wright ends up being a trade candidate. Reminder, folks, more subs equals more videos here at the newly launched Seahawks YouTube channel at Chat Sports. So if you have not already, subscribe and go tell a friend. You guys have brought it with impressive ability. You've reached 1,000 subs faster than any other channel in Chat Sports history, but you got to keep it up. You guys are well on the way to being a full-time channel here at Chat Sports. Over now to Bradley McDougald, a safety option who I know has been linked in every single trade idea you guys throw together for Jamal Adams, and for good reason. He has been a serviceable starter. He's the guy that you can count on. Is he going to be a super elite playmaker in the vein of a Cam Chancellor? No, of course not. But they could do a lot worse, and they have in recent years with some of their safety options guys that they've cut. The question for me is that, A, what happens if Marquise Blair emerges in camp in the preseason? You could move Quadre Diggs down to strong safety, put Blair at free safety, and McDougald's cut or trade saves $4 million. That's kind of right around the threshold for me of like, okay, that's maybe a little bit worthwhile in terms of the savings, but if Blair doesn't earn a role, then you're probably going to want to keep McDougald. He's a solid player. He's just not, Cam Chancellor. And if Blair emerges, move Diggs over to strong safety, start Blair. Maybe you worry a lot about Delano Hill, which I think is very fair at this point. But with $4+ million in savings, McDougald does make sense as a potential cut candidate or trade candidate, of course, for the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe the biggest issue there is, do you feel confident in 3 of those guys, including McDougald, or 4? How much do you trust Hill? Not very much. So what do you guys want to do with him? Cast your votes for me in the comments section. It's very simple. K equals keep, C equals cut, or T equals trade. I figure most will be K or T because if you're going to cut someone, remember, you always try to trade them first. So any cut candidate, yes, Seattle would explore a trade first and foremost. Let's go to Rashaad Penny, a very popular name in the trade ideas and the mailbags we've seen here, and I understand it. Penny has not lived up to the first-round status. Now, the biggest issue here in terms of cut or trade is that really only one is possible. If the Seahawks cut Rashaad Penny with the way his contract is set up as a former first-round pick, it actually costs them more money. They would lose a little over $500,000 if they were to cut Rashaad Penny versus just keeping him on the roster. If they can trade him, though, they would save almost $1.6 million. Rashaad Penny, when he's been on the field, has been super intriguing. He's offered some big playability. He's offered some receiving value. He's shown flashes of being that potential home run threat that the Seahawks thought they were going to get when they took him in round 1 out of San Diego State. The issue is, and the issue for a potential trade, is that he's hurt right now. He's coming off of that knee injury. If he's not going to be good to go for week 1, he is a real PUP-less candidate. No one's going to trade for Rashaad Penny. For now, he is RB2 behind Chris Carson. Carlos Hyde could usurp him. They drafted DJ Dallas and Travis Homer in recent years. So Seattle could trade Penny if a team is willing to gamble on another injury-plagued season that Penny's coming off of. Now, at the trade deadline, reportedly, and this came out of Detroit, by the way, Seattle was offered a third-round pick for Rashaad Penny, and they said no to that trade. Are there regrets? Maybe, maybe not. So what would you do with the Seattle Seahawks right now? If you do trade him, I don't think you're getting a third-round pick back. Would you keep him? Type in 1. Or would you trade him? Type in 2. Let me know what you guys think there in the comments section. It does, of course, depend on what you can get back. Maybe with the injury, maybe you lean more towards keeping Penny, at least for the time being. Seahawks fans, I hope you all are staying safe out there because I don't know about you guys, but I need my sports to come back. So if you have not already, go check out the Seahawks face masks that are available with our friends over at Fanatics. It's chatsports.com/Seahawks masks. These were pretty backed up earlier. Now they can ship out within 2 days. Some of them will. It's chatsports.com/Seahawks mask. That link will be in the comments and it will be in the description. They've got 3 packs available, individual ones as well. Most of them will ship out within 2 business days. So if you haven't already, go check out what they have available. Let's go to some other players here that I think really should be cut. Cedric Ogbuehi is bad at football. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here. He's not someone you want on the field. It's the nature of life in the NFL. Look around the rest of the NFL. The swing tackle options are not good. And that's kind of what Ogbuehi is at this point in his NFL career. Former first-round pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, disaster. They took Ogbuehi and Jake Fisher in that draft class, and both of them busted very quickly. Was a backup last year for the Jacksonville Jags, and is, I think, competing for a potential swing tackle role in Seattle, along with Jones. I think Brown and Shell right now, you're pretty clear-cut starters. Maybe coach can play some tackle if you need him to. But Ogbuehi, with the way his contract is structured, if you cut him, Seattle, they would save almost $1.74 million. I did round up on that number earlier. I don't want to pay Ogbuehi that. Heck, I might roll with Wheeler instead. Like, it's the same. Like, Ogbuehi's not someone you want out there. And if you're going to have a bad option and a bad option, you always go with the cheaper of the 2 bad options. So if I'm Seattle, I'm much more inclined to just simply release him and move on. Now remember, folks, we do a lot of stuff here at Chat Sports, and the Seahawks, you guys are our next full-time channel. That means news, that means rumors, mailbags, fun videos like this cut and trade candidate list. So if you have not already, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Let's go now to the defensive line. I do want to spend some time on here because there were a couple of different options I actually considered when it comes to which defensive end the Seahawks could end up cutting. I went with Brandon Jackson, and I took that route mostly because of the money perspective. $2.13 million is saved if the Seahawks end up cutting him, and I am concerned he's going to end up being caught in a bit of a numbers game at defensive end. Now, he started a couple of games in the past for Seattle. At his size, he's approaching 300 pounds. He offers the inside-outside flex that I think Seattle likes, and frankly that I like at some of my defensive ends as well. But he's never been a super elite, disruptive, or productive player. The sacks they've been there. 3 sacks over the past 2 years, 3.5 over the last 3, but it's been trending in the correct direction. The problem for Jackson is with the money potentially being saved, is is he really the best option? Heck, they go pretty deep on the defensive end spot right now in terms of options and bodies. Of course, there is no Everson Griffin or there is no Clowney. If one of those guys come in, look, Jackson's gone for sure. Maybe you end up carrying, let's say, 10 defensive linemen, where you're going to carry Poona Ford and Reed, and L.J. Collier and Rasheem Green both have inside capabilities, so there's 8. You're probably going to keep Bruce Irvin. You could cut him, but you really want to start Taylor in year 1, Mayo in year 1? I'm not sure. Darrell Taylor's not going to get cut. Maybe Benson Mayowa ends up getting cut, but at this point, if you're keeping Green and Collier and Ford and Reed, you might sign another player as well. You're going to keep Irvin and Taylor. It comes down to Robinson, Jackson, or Mayowa. If they're all pretty similar, you're going to go with the more money savings. And that's very clearly Braden Jackson. At that significant money, kind of makes sense to me. So which defensive end, do you believe will end up getting cut by the Seattle Seahawks? Jackson, is it somebody else? Cast your votes for me in the comments section. Some more players still to get to, but first, folks, Seahawks jerseys are on sale, 25% off. They've got the awesome neon green Russell Wilson one. We've also got the 12 jerseys too. DK Metcalf, they've got Bobby Wagner in there too. They got a whole bunch of options, both colors and styles. They are all official Nike jerseys, by the way. So head over to chatsports.com/Seahawks jersey. That link will take you right to the full assortment there. That link's in the comments and the description, chatsports.com/Seahawks jersey. Let's go to receiver now, and again, kind of like defensive end, the numbers don't quite work out, especially if Seattle ends up adding another receiver like I think they will, be it a Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, or a player to be determined. Now, David Moore showed some promise in 2018. It was quite intriguing. Got a couple starts, made some plays. Then 2019 comes around, and he just wasn't as involved. And I don't think that bodes well for David Moore, especially with, just like Jackson, potential savings of $2.13 million. And you're not going to pay $2 million for this. This type of production, that's not enough. That's really not enough for Seattle to say, you know what, yeah, we trust Moore, let's bring him in. And reminder, all these guys I've brought up, you're looking at over almost $15-20 million in savings. That's more than enough to sign someone like a Clowney or a Griffin or a defensive lineman. And at receiver, if you bring in Josh Gordon or Brown, they're probably going to be super cheap. So now all of a sudden, if you have Lockett and DK Metcalf there, and Philip Dorsett will actually cost less than David Moore, you bring in Gordon or Brown, which I think will. Dorsett becomes your number 4. David Moore is now your number 5 receiver, and it costs $2 million. That's a little bit too much when you've got guys on very cheap contracts like a Thompson or a Swain or a Hart. So although I think David Moore is probably better than those guys we just mentioned, money matters in the NFL, especially with uncertainty around future salary caps. So if you're Seattle, maybe it actually makes the most sense to release David Moore, just like you cut a Jackson and other players, save some money to either add other players or potentially roll that over for future salary cap.